remember when we got the Nintendo Switch 2 trailer a couple days ago, and then everyone was like, oh, we're going to have to wait so long now to get any information on anything else. There's not going to be any sort of leaks or rumors that end up happening between now and then. And I was like, well, that doesn't really make any sense. I'm sure we'll learn about a lot of things between now and April 2nd. If anything, things are just going to get more crazy and out of control with it. And lo and behold, the soothsayer once again predicts and sees the future accurately, because now we have a laundry list of alleged third-party games coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. And if this list is to be believed, which a lot of places are starting to report it, bigger websites such as Video Games Chronicle did pick this up, and they don't just report any old rumor, then I think not only does this set the tone for the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2 when it comes to third-party support, but well into this system's life cycle and how things are going to be with it. Now, in this list of games that is coming to us from a leaker named Extas1S, I believe that's how you say it. I don't know. I could be wrong. There are some games that we have heard before, such as the Halo the Halo Master Chief Collection and Microsoft Flight Simulator, 2 Xbox games. We do know Xbox is going to be a partner for the Nintendo Switch 2 system, much like they've been a partner for the Nintendo Switch as it is now. And I think the Master Chief Collection, like, it'll be very bizarre to see that on anything else, but Nate the Hate also said that he believes that that is coming. And honestly, like, I've been practicing getting back into those games. I play Halo 2 Vanilla, Halo 2 Remastered, and Halo 3 online with some of the boys at nighttime, and like, I can't wait to absolutely destroy people on the Nintendo Switch 2 who have never played a Halo game before. All these stupid little kids, oh, look, I got a new system, I got the Halo Master Chief Collection, I'm gonna have fun. And then you run across me, someone who does not want you to have fun, someone who wants you to feel the pain and suffering of life through the Halo Master Chief Collection. Now, if those are the only games we had to go on, that's a pretty interesting list. But like I said, this Extas1S has a lot more games that are allegedly coming. The first game we're going to briefly mention is a Call of Duty title. Okay, like, of course that's going to be a thing. I don't think that's going to be a huge surprise for anyone. We already know that Call of Duty, due to the agreement with the FTC stuff, that Call of Duty will indeed be coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. I think it would be more interesting if we saw a Switch 1 version of Call of Duty, but alas, you know, whatever. That's one of the games that is mentioned. Fallout 4. Now, that is a Bethesda game, and it's a game, I don't really love Fallout 4. I am a bigger fan of Fallout 3. I think Fallout 3 was a much more enjoyable game for me. I like the setting, the story. I liked a lot more things in Fallout 3 than I did in Fallout 4, but that does make sense. That's an easier game to probably port to the Nintendo Switch 2 system. It's not a really taxing game or anything like that. A bit of an older title as well. So I think that that would actually do somewhat decent on the system. I'm hopeful that maybe a Fallout 3 remaster would be in the cards at some point in time, but Fallout 4, I'm pretty much going through the games that I find least interesting to most interesting, if you haven't picked up on that yet. So Fallout 4, you know, I could take it or leave it. Starfield. Now that one gets a little bit more interesting, because Starfield was something that was rumored to be coming to PlayStation 5 as well, but allegedly Starfield is in development for the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, I don't think Starfield is as bad as a lot of people made it out to be. It's a bit different than what you would expect from Bethesda with this style of game. I don't really think it necessarily equates to a Fallout in space, like a one-to-one. You know, not having the VAT system kind of makes the gameplay a bit more action-orientated, a bit more fast-paced, but I kind of enjoyed Starfield for what it was. I haven't played the subsequent DLC or anything like that, but I am interested in Starfield because A, it is a larger open world style game that I think would be interesting to see running on the Nintendo Switch 2, and B, because of the fact that I feel like so many Nintendo fans dogged Starfield. You know, like, a lot, you gotta be real with yourself here. a lot of these Nintendo fanboys out there, when Starfield didn't get the 9s and the 10s that a lot of Xbox, owners were expecting it to get in things like Metacritic, a lot of Nintendo fans were right there kind of making fun of it and poking fun of it, and they're like, oh, look, it's not that good of a game. But will the tone and the tune change if it's announced for the Nintendo Switch 2? Is this now automatically a game that everyone wants to play? I think from a technical perspective, Starfield is very interesting to me. I would like to see it running on the system. I would like to see side-by-side comparisons with the Xbox Series X. I would like to see how upscaling is used for the Switch 2 version of the game. But allegedly, Starfield will end up coming to other platforms. And when you look at Microsoft's, business lineup, it kind of does make sense. And I know what you're saying to yourself. Well, RGT, a lot of these games, pretty much all these games that you've been talking about have been Microsoft games. And you would be 100% correct. And we actually have more Microsoft games to talk about, at least one more to talk about. But now I'm going to throw you a little curveball here, because allegedly Tekken 8 will be coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 system. And that is something that I think would be good, because when you look at fighting games on the Nintendo Switch, you got a bunch of great compilations and retro style fighters and retro fighting games. Of course, you have Smash Brothers, which, I mean, people consider it a fighting game. I think it's more of a party fighting game, but, whatever the case may be. But your bigger titles, your stuff like your Tekkens, your newer Street Fighters, and stuff like that, you didn't get those on the Switch. You got your Mortal Kombats with okay-ish ports from time to time, but I think Tekken 8 also makes a lot of sense, because if you go back to the last time that Nintendo had really good third-party support at the launch of the system was, of course, the Wii U, and you got Tekken Tag Tournament on the Wii U as a launch title. Of course, Tekken 8 is a much larger fighting game than Tekken Tag Tournament. It was a multi-platform release, so I think it makes sense to appear on the Nintendo Switch, or the Switch 2. Like, why not? It's a launch title of a somewhat legacy title for Bandai Namco. Bandai Namco obviously saw a lot of success with the original Nintendo Switch, and I think that they are anticipating more success going forward. So we're talking about games like Starfields and Fallouts and Tekkens. But what's been the biggest game of the past, 2 years or so? That, the DLC was amazing. The DLC could have been Game of the Year. Is that going to come to Nintendo Switch 2? And that, of course, is Elden Ring. And yes, Elden Ring is also on this list. If you know anything about me, I'm not a huge Elden Ring guy. I give these games an honest effort. Every time they come out, I give them an honest effort. And I always think, well, this is going to be the FromSoft game that completely clicks with me, and I finally really enjoy it. But I don't. I never seem to. I can appreciate them for what they are. I can appreciate that people appreciate them. It's just not something for me. But I've seen a lot of discourse on Elden Ring, potentially running on the Nintendo. Oh, it can't run on the Switch 2, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, do you not remember? Like, this is a PS4 game. This is an Xbox One game. Like, I think it'll handle it just fine. Elden Ring, it's a gorgeous game, but it's not necessarily a game that really pushes hardware, I feel. I feel like most of the tough stuff with Elden Ring would be in crafting the world itself, crafting the enemies within the world, and more so like the AI of the enemies and how they react to you than just like raw graphical power. And I think it would be somewhat successful on the Switch 2. A native port of Elden Ring on the go, I think would be really cool and an attractive thing for a lot of would-be consumers, especially if this is a launch title. I should say, with these games being announced, these are games that are within a launch window, not necessarily day one things, but like the first 6 months. Obviously, these companies don't want to blow their load and release 100 games all at once on the system. But I think Elden Ring would be an interesting addition to the Nintendo Switch 2. But the final one is a game that I saved, because while I'm not like the hugest fan of this franchise, I did enjoy the third game in the franchise. That was actually my first time really playing it. I do like this style of game though, but the final game is by far the most interesting because it takes into account something that people have been looking at with the Switch 2's launch trailer and wanting more information on. And that game, my friends, is yet a final Xbox game, and that is Diablo 4. Now, why did I save Diablo 4 for last if I'm, not a diehard Diablo fan or anything like that? Because of the control scheme. Because think back to what we saw with the Switch 2 reveal trailer and those Joy-Cons acting like a mouse. And I mean that in a literal term, like not acting like a computer mouse or anything like that, but, acting like a real life mouse, scurrying along on its little feet or whatnot. If the Switch 2, if the gimmick of the Joy-Con is a pseudo mouse style controller, that is going to open up a whole new world for types of games on the platform. And Diablo 4 makes so much sense for it to be one of those games. Those games where point and click management, yeah, you could do it with a controller. It's doable with a controller. People manage to use controllers to do this sort of thing. But that's a genre that would actually really shine on the Nintendo Switch 2 if you have these pinpoint controls when you're in dock mode or even in tabletop mode or something like that. Like, that would be a whole new innovation for experiences. And I think Diablo 4 makes so much sense from that perspective of looking at this controller and being like, well, what are companies going to do with it? I hope EA brings Command & Conquer Remastered to the Switch, the original Command & Conquer, or the Switch 2, I should say, because that would be awesome. Like, yeah, I love the console versions of Command & Conquer. Like, I love the Saturn version, I love the N64 version, the PS1 version. Like, they're super fun. But they made a remastered version of that game, and it never came out on consoles. This would be a perfect place for it to be, and I want to see more of these mouse-style games. Bring me Mario Paint. Like, quit messing around. Bring Mario Paint back. I would rather play Mario Paint than Mario Maker. Yes, I said it. Yes, I said it, and I don't care. But I find this lineup of games very, very interesting. Just because of the fact that you have so many heavy hitters and so many games that you wouldn't expect some of these games on the Switch 1. A game like Starfield, a game like Elden Ring, nobody would really expect those on the Nintendo Switch 1. And yes, they're not exactly the newest and brightest games in terms of technological advancements, but they are big AAA titles from third-party companies. They are games that you wouldn't expect on your current Nintendo Switch system. So if this is the type of output we're getting, within that launch window, the first 6 months or so of the Switch 2 when it comes to software from third-party companies, like, bro, this system's going to be a heavy boy. You better start saving your money. You better start selling stuff. You might have to start stripping. I mean, I have to. People always say, well, why do you wear the same sweatshirt every day? Because I'm poor, man. I'm poor. Jokes aside, though, I am super ready for more stuff like this. And I think you're going to get more stuff like this. You're going to get more information. You're going to get more game alleged leaks. Now, at the end of the day, these are just leaks. These are just rumors. But with some of these games lining up with other things that we've heard, like, add in, like, just look at the lineup of games we just talked about and then add in shit like Rebirth. Games like that. And then you have to add in first-party games, too, that you know nothing about. Except like Mario Kart 9. Even if Nintendo just did Mario Kart 9, and that was the flagship bearer for the launch of the system, and then third-party stuff kind of fills it out, and maybe some cross-generational titles like Metroid Prime 4, like, damn, man. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, and I cannot wait. And I will keep you guys updated on all of this sort of stuff. Let me know in the comments section down below, though. What do you think about these games? Are these games that you would be interested in either playing for the first time or potentially revisiting on the Nintendo Switch 2? I think a lot of these games would be fun just from a comparison standpoint. You know, I'd probably pick up some of the Fallout 4. I wouldn't pick up. Elden Ring, I wouldn't pick up. Starfield, I probably would. Diablo 4, I probably would. Tekken 8, I probably would. And I'll for damn sure be picking up the Master Chief Collection. Covenant Carbine to the side of your stupid head, little Johnny. Welcome to the real world, pal. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Be sure to check out yesterday's video talking about the state of the video game industry and why it's in the shitter. I really had fun making that video and just yelling for a while. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.